What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys enjoy the video today. We're going to go through another episode of Wild Talk where we talk about New Zealand Warriors every week. But quickly, before we get into the video as well, I do want to shout out a great friend of mine that is doing amazing stuff with clothing and workout wear and all that sort of stuff. So shout out to AJ Type with his amazing business, Wolf X. You probably can't see it picking up on the camera and that. I'll put a link to his website in the description down below and also a link to his Instagram down below. So make sure you go give him a follow. Go look at some clothing and all that sort of stuff. Got some oversized tees, got some workout gear, really nice shorts, really nice shirts, amazing stuff if you want to get your workout on, especially coming into summertime. You want to get that summer body cracking. Go check him out down there, and also go check him out on Instagram and give him a shout out, say hello to him, and say that Ash did send you here. So, and also before we get into the video, because of course we are talking about the Gold Coast Titans game, I do want to shout out every single one of you guys that made it out there in the Gold Coast Titans game. I made it out there as well, and man, oh man, just being out there with the whole Titans fans, we weren't out of place at all. It legit felt like a home game. I'm saying like 20,000 people. I would think about 19,000 of those people were Warriors fans. It was actually mental. I could not freaking believe it. So shout out to every one of you guys that turned up out there for the Warriors against the Gold Coast Titans. But without further ado, let's get through the video. But firstly, before I go through all this sort of stuff, I want to talk about New Zealand Warriors. I do also want to credit the Gold Coast Titans for a little smidget of this video as well. I thought, honestly, you know, if it happened to us, the whole sim bidding action, I will talk about that a little bit later on. I would be pretty down on myself, but I would be pretty proud of my football team for holding in to the contest. I do want to shout out to the Gold Coast Titans and players like Jaden Campbell. He was absolutely unbelievable watching him live. He was just everywhere. He was breaking tackles everywhere for such a small body. He's so amazing to watch live. And also shout out to ex-Warrior Aaron Clark. I actually thought, watching the game live, I thought he was fucking awesome. Just some of the movements that he does off the ball, his defensive work, his aggression in defense, I thought he was fucking amazing to watch as well. So major key stats in the game, team stats, we got 12-6 at halftime. So halftime score was 12-6, ended up being 28-18, 5 drives to 3, 54% possession going to the Warriors' way. We had a 71% completion rate, which wasn't the best, and it was a reason why we didn't really put too many points on. 7 line breaks to 4. We definitely were dominant in very big periods of this game, but then there was a little middle part of this game where we were very lackluster for a little bit of some moments in that, and I will talk about that a little bit later on. And 12 errors to 7 really just didn't help us getting over the Gold Coast Titans to put a actual decent scoreline on, because quite possibly this could have been a very high scoreline game, especially when I will talk about it a little bit later on. So before I go through all of that and what really happened, I do want to also touch on, because it's the first time I don't really touch on too much refereeing decisions and all that. Being a Warriors fan, it does happen to us and that, but I really don't like to give my channel that way, like talk about referees and all that sort of stuff. But it's a big game, obviously a whole lot of controversy coming into this game, especially with the refereeing. And number one, obviously to set the tone early, with Dallin getting a call on a high tackle with Chris Randall. That, to be honest, when I first saw that one, I thought that one was the sin bin. The first time I saw it, I thought he was going to go to the sin bin. I've seen that happen multiple times in the NRL the last couple of weeks, but no penalty there. So it is what it is. That was like, the way they were setting the tone of the contest here. Then we had 2 hair pulls against Dallin that did not get called penalties. Could not really understand that at all. And, to be honest, like, it didn't go the Titans' way either. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but you know what I mean? Like 2 hair pulls, they were like deliberate hair pulls on Dallin. They were even caught on camera. They replayed it a couple of times, both coming from Cam Pereira. And, in the heat of the battle, sometimes you can grab hair, this and that, but 2 times there's got to be a penalty for it, even though I don't think Cam Pereira is that type of player. I honestly don't. I don't think many other players are actually those type of people or those type of players. But they've got to be penalty sufficient, especially when you're looking back on like the Jerome Luai versus Tyson Frizzell incident. Like when you're looking at that sort of stuff, then you go like, that was a major penalty. And I think he even got time for that a little bit earlier in the season. What happened there? Like, why? And then obviously the big controversial call, which is Mo Fotuaika going off, getting actually sent off for the high tackle on Chance Nickel-Klokstad. I know Chancey did get knocked out completely and he was knocked out of the game. I do not think that was a send-off. In my opinion, I didn't think that was a send-off, even though I'm seeing like, a whole lot of Fox League and watching the commentary, watching a whole lot of game, rewatching the game again. A lot of them did think it was a send-off as well. I honestly didn't. I honestly thought that maybe you could go two sin bins for sure with the Chris Randall act and then the Mo Footawake act, because I honestly thought, even though Chancey got knocked out, I thought the swinging arm on the Randall tackle was maybe a little bit worse than Mo's one. Mo's just, I think, a whole lot of body weight carried over and, just a collision really happened. But, sin bins suffice 100%, but the send-off, we've seen it early on in the week with Nathan Brown getting sent off as well for the Roosters game. And I just I don't know, I don't like that in our game, especially, it takes away from our win, because honestly, I thought defensively we were holding out the Titans I will talk about that a little bit later on either way, but I thought defensively we were amazing in that, and it really takes away that whole thing of being a Warriors fan and saying we're proud of our defensive effort in this contest, because people are going to straight away bring up you're defending against 12 men, and that takes away from that being a Warriors fan. And for a Titans fan, you do feel like you're dudded. You feel like you've been 60 minutes without Mo Footawake in that game, and you feel like that, even though a little bit later on as well, Marata Niokora getting sin binned for a slap on David Fafita, even though copping a forearm to the head, a nice little fend to the head after the tackle and a slap. To be honest, if you're going to do that, it is what it is. Send in the bin. It didn't really change the outlook of the game overall. And really, it kind of does help our argument a little bit there where, obviously the Titans were down to 12 men for 60 minutes in this game. But really, it was 12 on 12 for those 10 minutes there. And then it ended up being, probably about 50 to 40 minutes of actual being down to 12 men compared to being down to, 13 or 12 and all that sort of stuff. So honestly, I wish Niokora could have went a bit different with it. Obviously not the open hand slap. It was just a love slap. It is what it is, but you can't be doing it in this age of rugby league, unfortunately, and it's just the way it goes. So that is all the refereeing stuff out of the way before we get into all the actual game stuff. So we'll talk about the actual game stuff and how we actually lost a whole lot of momentum in this game and the missed opportunities we actually had in this game. So moving on to my missed opportunities, obviously, two big ones pulled back due to reffing decisions. Obviously the first one with the SJ getting shepherded behind, I think it was either Mitch Barnett or Marata Niokora came back on that one, and he went in behind. It was just a touch and go sort of one. I don't think it would have affected the try at all, if that did go through or not. I don't think they were going to get there in any sort of way, and Kieran Foran did a whole lot of great work with his talking to the referee and getting that to sway his way in that, definitely, paying off his contract in that sort of way. But I did obviously, the rules are the rules. You can't do that. And I don't think that was a try. But, a little bit early on, if he passed it maybe a little bit earlier, that would have gone over as a try there as number one. And Dylan Walker with the number two one is definitely the one where Wade Egan shifted around, got a really nice quick play of the ball, shifted around to one side of the ruck, then cut back in, and Dylan Walker back on the other side of the ruck, all the way through, broke through, and then he had too many opportunities on his outside. You had Metcalf on one side, which kind of overran the run a little bit there, and you had SJ on one side. But when Walker threw the first, the first dummy, Campbell already bit on a dummy before anything. He wanted the intercept. You saw that a little bit later on in the game with the Jackson Ford one. He bit on the dummy straight away, so I kind of do wish that Dylan Walker dummied and went. But, when he did pass it, it was just slightly forward, and I could not believe it got pulled back, because that really killed a lot of our momentum in this game. At this point, we were up at 18-6, I'm pretty sure, and we were actually getting a really nice move on. It was coming out of half. We were going to go back-to-back. I think this was a back-to-back set after the Jackson Ford try, and that would have just put a stake in the game. We would have just continued all the way through. I really do feel like the floodgates would have opened there. And this is when everything felt like it went to a little bit of a lull for the Warriors. It felt like we'd lost a little bit of confidence there, and the Titans started to bite back into the contest. I'm pretty sure a little bit later on, that was when Stimson actually went over for his try off the grubber kick. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. And the last missed opportunity I do want to talk about as well, because this could have been 3 tries we could have had in our pocket. And to be honest, they were definite 3 tries if it did go our way. Jackson Ford getting the ball off a crossfield kick. I can't remember who caught caught it, but they passed it to Jackson Ford instead of Montoya. I reckon if Montoya got that ball, he would have been straight in that corner. Jacko had so much space in that corner, but a forward does what a forward does, cuts back in and tries to pass it back on the inside. That's when Jaden Campbell scored off that intercept. Obviously, the whole thing online is obviously you go all the way back in that play off the actual bat back against, I think it was Bombay and Shop. Shop actually touched the ball forward, would have been a knock on, but it is what it is. Didn't really change the game overall, and it is what it is. But those were our big moments that we did miss in this game. The scoreline could have definitely been a lot worse for the Titans, but again, their defense was very, very strong for a lot of this game, especially down to 12 men. And secondly, we were very rusty in this game. I'm not trying to take away from our, we were rusty in this game. We did not look the best in this game. I don't know what we did off the bye, whether we just took a rest period and the boys are just trying to get back through the motions again, which I would really think that we were doing more so because of injuries and the way the boys looked in that last Raiders game. They looked pretty gassed. I feel like the boys just try to recover through that period and then we come back against this Titans game. So my massive positives coming into this game, obviously. So Mitch Barnett for me was massive in this game. I thought he was momentum, he was so good, especially towards the later part of the game where we did go down to 18 all. And Mitch Barnett's defense was on point. There was one point there. I think Tohu went over for the try. I think we were just ahead, but we were pinning the Titans back in their own end. And maybe even after all that, maybe after the Dallin Watini-Zalesniak try, it's off my memory right now, but back-to-back tackles. The first tackle was a massive hit, I think, on Keanu Kinney, and then the next one, it was off the ruck. I can't remember who came off the ruck. I can't remember off the top of my head, but just smacked him too, and it was right in front of us where we were sitting in at the stadium, and I was just like, this guy is on fire at the moment. I thought he had an amazing game overall. Second positive in this game, SJ's kicking game to win us the game overall. And now, early on, his kicking game wasn't the best. Obviously, he got that 7 tackle set, the too far kick that AKP ended up picking up in the dead ball and bringing it all the way back. He didn't have the best game early on with his kicking game, but his running game was on. And then later on, his game management started to click over. And just some of the kicks he put into the corner, it's the nudge that I absolutely adore with halfbacks and stuff. It's what I've been wanting to see from Shawnee for a long time. It's players that JT and Andrew Johns and Darren Lockyer used to do is not so much the bombing attack. It's you see where the fullback is in the line, if he's in the line, if he's not, if he's covered from the other end of the field. Just that little nudge in over the top. It usually gets a really nice repeat set. So I thought he did that really, really well in this game to bring us home and got a try assist off it with Dallin Watini-Zalesniak a little bit later on with that one. Tane Tuapiki, obviously replacing Chance Nickel-Kostak. I thought he had an amazing game as well. 16 minutes in, Chance goes down, obviously, to the Mo Fodawaker that ended up causing the send-off. But Tane did not look out of depth. He did, obviously, his passing game did let down a couple of times. He was very rusty in those sort of areas, but his running game out of the back end, he broke a whole lot of tackles, made a whole lot of great meters out the back. And just every time he touched the ball, it was very exciting. It was very much like the two junior fullbacks going through back-to-back. Campbell, obviously, he's been in the league for a little bit longer, but Tane being a burly bear, around the area and all that sort of stuff. Both of them play a very similar type of football. I would say Campbell maybe has a little bit more strings to his bow, but Tane has the attacking style of the footwork and very similar to Jaden Campbell. I thought he played amazing in this game. Obviously, I do want to touch on the positive of the 3 Titans tries, and this is really just to show how good our defense actually was in this game. Probably the biggest lacking one of our defense was the first try with David Fafita going out of dummy half. But to be fair, it was very broken defense. I think Tane got caught in the ruck there. Adden, I think, made that tackle a little bit early on in that one, and then they tried to get to their feet there, and I think Tohu and Tane got pretty much, bulldozed by Dave Fafita 2 minutes out. There's not many people that will stop Dave Fafita out on that part of the line. The second one was the Stimson grubber. That pretty much just all Stimson work there. I got to give it to Stimson. I don't really fully rate him, overall as an NRL player. I think he's a great NRL player. I just don't think he's upper echelon or anything like that. Great little chase there for the grubber to get that really nice try there on us. And the last one, obviously, Jaden Campbell. That really did feel like that it could have gone back. Obviously the knock on was shot, but if it didn't, it is what it is. Obviously Jacko Ford making that, and it was a great individual play on Jaden Campbell. So no real plays, set pieces that really got the boys over. There was no actual pullbacks or anything on any set pieces that got AKP over or anything like that I do remember off the top of my head. The only one I do believe that got pulled back was the AKP one where Tane tried to throw the cutout, end up being a knock on off. I think it was Shop that was defending on that. No, Brian Kelly on that side that ended up knocking the ball on. AKP tried to go the whole field. That did worry me in the moment. When that happened, I was like, fucking hell. And you don't really hear the referee, especially how loud the Warriors fans were. Man, like, fuck yeah, it was so crazy to see. Like, you know, when he went over there, I was like, fuck me, like, we're going to go down. I think it was 12-6 at this time it would have been. And it might have even been 12-0 at this time if that went over. But yeah, it's good to see the boys fight back there. So they're my positives there. Obviously, I do feel like defensively we were very good in this game. And you could say, obviously, 12 men on the Titans field for like 50 minutes, 60 minutes of, you know, 12 on 12, 12 on 13. We had 12 on 12 for probably 10 minutes. You know what I mean? But yeah, I do feel like defensively we actually did very well in this game. So quickly moving on to my negatives. Obviously, the big negative is 12 errors. Like, that was the massive negative for me. It was the ones that held us back. Pretty early on in this game, we had a whole lot of great field position, really good attacking opportunity. A lot of errors coming off the back of, I think it was a Metcalf forward pass one. Then there was like a drop ball on the edge where I think we tried to go short to forward. I'm pretty sure that happened one or twice. And then just moments in this game where we really had the Titans in really great field position. We're trying to shift out back. There was one that was pretty early on where Montoya would have had a great little break down the sideline, and the pass from Pompey went a little bit behind him. He ended up dropping that ball. So I do feel like we missed a whole lot of opportunities of making this scoreline a lot worse than that, and 12 errors was the reason for that. Number two, we looked very, very rusty in attack in periods. So in multiple periods, we were stringing some things together, and I feel like Shawnee's kicking game and that really got us home at the end of it. But we did look rusty in our attacking sets, especially because I felt like you could see the game plan. We wanted to attack the left-hand side as much as possible. That is the worst defensive side on the Titans, attacking Tanner Boyd and Joe Stimson. When we did try to shift right, we tried to bring Metcalf in and try to get the extra number on that side. And we tried to do exactly the same side on that left side, but it just wasn't happening on that side at all. And moments, obviously, when Tane came on the field, it wasn't like having chance out the back, you know, that slick hands out the back there. Tane tried to make things happen at that time, but when you're not like fully training in that fullback position all the time, sometimes you can get a little bit disjointed there. So I do feel like there were a couple of negatives there that really hampered us in this game. And I felt like we lost a whole lot of momentum in the middle part of this game. Obviously, after the Metcalf no try, this is when I'm pretty sure the Titans went back-to-back on tries. They got back to 18-18, especially, you know, after that no try. It was a little bit of an arm wrestle in between there, but, you know, the momentum should have definitely been on our side, especially when we were about to go back-to-back on those two tries. Jackson Ford went over, and then Dylan Walker went through the line. And then, you know, I think there was one time where Metcalf actually had a chip and chase. That's another missed opportunity that I totally forgot about. Metcalf running through, broke the line, chip and chase for himself. The bounce just went somewhere different, straight over his head. And yeah, a couple of big moments that we did miss out on. I really do feel like we could have actually put a good scoreline here, especially when we weren't playing our best footy at all. And really do. I just want to credit that all to the fans out there. I feel like we gave them a whole lot of heart, especially in those contests. It did worry me, obviously, going 18 all, where we were just looking at it as like, this is not us. Like, we aren't this anymore. Like, surely we're not this anymore. Especially going back-to-back games, you know, with the Raiders game where we did cut it very short. You know, it was good to see the boys, you know, bring it home, especially Shawnee. It really does come down like Shawnee may be winning this Daily M this year, and I'm fucking all there for it. I'll probably cry all good tears for that one. And if we make the grand final, fuck me, like, put him in the discussion as one of the best halves, or especially, you know, the best New Zealand half ever to play. I feel like he's in the discussion anyway, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he needs to get that little bit of like bragging rights now, like a Daily M at halfback. And if he goes to the grand final, wins the grand final, he should be up in that upper echelon 100%. So quickly moving through my players of the game. So number one, SJ, of course, 2 try assists, 2 line breaks, 1 line break assist, 4 tackle breaks, 96 run meters, 313 kick meters with 2 forced dropouts. I thought he was immense in this game. He was the reason why we won this game. Obviously, the 2 tries early on kept us in this game, and then obviously the try assists and everything that come through. I thought he was fucking awesome and great to watch live. There was a couple of moments, as I said, when we lost momentum, I felt like he wasn't attacking the right side of the ball. Like, I felt like, you know, Fafita was down with a calf injury at one point there. I felt like we could attack that edge a little bit more, but, you know, I really do feel like our game plan was to try and strip that left edge as much as possible, and it just wasn't really happening for us. Second up, Mitch Barnett. I thought Mitch Barnett was fucking amazing. I'll give you my honorable mentions a little bit later of players I thought did well, but I thought Mitch Barnett was amazing, especially in defense towards the end of the game. His stats were good, but not amazing, but 61 minutes in this game, 17 runs, 153 meters, 64 post-contact meters, 30 tackles with only 3 missed, but very, very aggressive in defense, and he was great when he was on the football field with us. And Adam Fanor-Blake, amazing game from him. He's the big scary forward in the middle there. Good to see him chirping with Kieran Foran and getting in his face and trying to give him a little bit of something with the referee there. But 54 minutes from the big Adam Fanor-Blake, 16 runs for 169 run meters, 80 post-contact meters, 5 tackle breaks, 22 tackles with no misses. He was immense when he was on the football field. But a couple of big honorable mentions for me. Tohu Harris, amazing, scoring the try right in front of us, getting us over the top of the Titans there. That was the one that broke them back. So it was really good to see. Jacko Ford, I thought Jackson Ford was fucking awesome out in that side with Luke Metcalf. Every time he got really good ball, he was breaking tackles. He was finding his way through the defense. Looked really good in this game. Dylan Walker really definitely changed the momentum in this game when we brought him on very late. I feel like it was good coaching from Webster. Obviously, when they were down with 12 men, he left our big boys out there, to try keep penetrating the defense and that, and then bring for his speed men a little bit later while, the 12 men, they're trying to they're kind of dying out. I felt like the Titans just did really well to hold out there. But Dylan Walker definitely was the changing of the guard, especially early on in the second half. He was fucking awesome for us. Wade Egan, just amazing stuff as always. I really do rate Wade Egan these days. And Dane Tuapiki to do what he did for, Chauncey going down. It was so good to see that we had him at 18th man. It's good to see Tane get back in that lineup as well. But hopefully Chance is doing well. Shout out to you, Chauncey. You are amazing for us. And a week off for him, I'm guessing. Obviously, 11-day stand down, and then obviously coming into the week after. So this week coming up, we got the Tigers. It's going to be an amazing game back in New Zealand. It's good to see the Tigers actually give us a home game here. It was their home game that they brought to New Zealand. I wish all most of the NRL clubs did that, but it is what it is. It's just good to see the Tigers. Out of all teams in the competition, the Tigers that get so much media scrutiny, this is something positive that they could have got from the media, and something that I feel like I want to thank the Tigers generation, club just in general. I thought amazing stuff from them. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure you subscribe down below. Put in your comments down below, your thoughts on the game overall. Again, I will concede we were very rusty, but I thought defensively we were actually very sound. It was very disappointing to see us go 18 all, but I feel like, we brought it home really nicely. And Shawnee just doing Shawnee things. So good to see Shawnee really take control of the game. I've always thought he could do this, always seen him do this. But obviously now the eyes of the media and the eyes of everyone can see him do his thing on the big stage. So thank you so much, guys. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure you also do check out Wolf X. Please make sure you go check him out. I will put, as I said, the website in my description down below, and also my mate AJ, his Instagram down below. So go comment and go, bash his comment section and, DMs. Just tell him Ash sent you. So hope you guys enjoy. Please make sure you subscribe. Peace out.